In the far darkness of space, beyond the mapped borders of every known empire, a lonely research probe drifted silently through a cold region long abandoned. It was meant to collect radiation data from dead stars. But what it captured that day changed the galaxy forever. A signal, steady, rhythmic, and impossibly old, flashed across the deep space sensors. The pattern was unmistakable, human frequency coding. The operator, an alien scientist aboard a distant observation post, stared in disbelief as the signal repeated, echoing like a heartbeat through the void. Humanity had vanished from the galactic stage centuries ago, leaving behind nothing but myths of their terrible wars and unmatched ships. Yet the pulse was real, growing stronger every minute. Word spread quickly across the Council worlds. Within hours, fleets from multiple species gathered to trace the signal's origin. The coordinates pointed to a silent system with no planets, no stations, only drifting dust and an ancient moon orbiting a dying star. The leading fleet, belonging to the Virel Dominion, entered first, expecting to find debris. What they found instead froze them in silence. Out from the shadow of the moon emerged a colossal silhouette, larger than any ship ever recorded. Its hull was layered in deep black armor, scarred and pitted from centuries of wear, yet still pulsing faint blue light through its veins. For a long moment no one spoke. Then someone whispered on the comms, "It's human." The fleet's scanners confirmed it. A human vessel, but unlike anything in their archives. The ship's scale was unimaginable. It stretched like a floating continent, its surface covered in turrets and ports, many still active. The aliens called it a relic, a ghost of the past, but deep down every officer on the bridge felt something else: fear. The commander ordered a cautious approach, drones first. The drones vanished the moment they crossed the ship's shadow. No explosion, no interference, just gone. Then one by one the fleet's systems began to flicker. Communications turned static. Lights dimmed. The massive ship was waking up. Inside the vessel, unknown to all, ancient systems rebooted. Massive reactors came online after centuries of silence, spreading blue light through endless corridors. Drones detached from the hull, forming patterns like protective wings around the ship. A faint hum filled the space as if the ship were breathing. Every species watching from orbit realized they were in the presence of something not built for peace. The command channels filled with panicked chatter. "Retreat!" one captain shouted. "No," another replied. "If this is human tech, we must understand it." Before it understands us, then came the light. The entire ship ignited with blinding white-blue illumination, its energy field stretching out like waves through the void. The dying star's glow was nothing compared to it. Across the galaxy, deep space telescopes picked up the burst, transmitting it to every major capital. Within hours, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. The great chamber filled with leaders, all arguing over what to do. Some believed it was a trap. Others thought it was humanity returning. The council's oldest member, a frail elder of the Tharun species, spoke quietly. "We were warned. The humans said one day their guardians would wake. Perhaps that day is here." Back in orbit, the ship's engines roared faintly for the first time. The shockwave sent smaller vessels tumbling backward. The alien commanders ordered full retreat, but none could move. Their systems were locked, overridden by a signal none could decrypt. Then in the silence, a voice echoed through every channel. Calm, deep, unmistakably human. "This is the Aegis Supercarrier. Identity confirmed. Protocol 01 awakening." The galaxy froze. The ancient legend was real. Aegis was the last of Earth's supercarriers, built not for war, but for protection, programmed to remain hidden until the balance of the galaxy was threatened again. As the ship spoke, energy grids lit up across its hull, forming patterns resembling Earth's old military insignia. The aliens watched as the great engines turned, orienting toward the galactic center. Its presence alone caused smaller vessels to lose power. One curious alien ship dared to move closer, sending a simple question: "Who commands you?" The answer came without pause. "Humanity commands all who remember peace." Static followed, then silence. Far away, on the edges of the galaxy, listening stations and research colonies all received the same final message before the signal cut off completely. The guardians of Earth have awakened. For a brief moment, every empire felt the same chill. The humans were gone, but their power was not. The Aegis Supercarrier had returned, silent and unstoppable, its engines humming like a sleeping giant that had finally opened its eyes. And as it began to move toward the center of the galaxy, one thought echoed across every world. If this was only one ship, what else had humanity left behind? The galaxy had gone silent after the Aegis Supercarrier's awakening. For weeks, the massive vessel drifted slowly across empty space, its engines glowing faint blue, silent yet alive. Every empire monitored it from afar, afraid to interfere. The Council's finest war analysts worked day and night, trying to predict its next move. But the ship had no predictable pattern. It stopped near dead systems, reactivated dormant satellites, and then vanished before their sensors could stabilize. Some said it was scanning for life. Others believed it was searching for something, or someone. Aboard the Varel Dominion's flagship, Admiral Kareth stood in disbelief. He had been the first to encounter the supercarrier, and now he was assigned to track it. His crew was tense, their voices low, their eyes glued to the massive holographic display showing the ship's movements. "It's not heading toward any known colony," one officer said. "It's following a pattern. Maybe old human coordinates." Kareth frowned. "You're saying it's retracing Earth's roots?" The officer nodded. The idea sent a chill down every spine. Humanity's ancient trade and war routes were forbidden zones now, full of wrecks and forgotten stations. Whatever the Aegis was doing, it wasn't random. In the council chamber, panic was rising. The smaller nations demanded the ship be destroyed before it could do more. The larger powers refused. No one wanted to risk being the first to provoke it. "It hasn't attacked anyone," argued the Tharun elder. "It's following a mission we don't understand. Perhaps we should listen before we fear." But the Ralak Dominion leader slammed a fist on the table. "Listen to a ghost? That thing crippled entire fleets without firing a shot." The debate turned into chaos, voices overlapping in fear and anger, until a soft transmission interrupted every speaker. "This is Aegis," the same calm human voice said, resonating through every channel in the galaxy. "I seek the remnants of Earth. Stand down and observe." The words spread across millions of systems. Every outpost, every mining station, every homeworld received the same message. For the first time in centuries, every civilization heard a human voice again. On frontier worlds, children asked who the humans were. On old war-torn planets, veterans stared in silence, remembering stories of human courage and human wrath. Meanwhile, deep in a quiet system, the Aegis approached an abandoned planet. Its surface was barren, burned long ago, but beneath the dust lay ruins of an ancient Terran colony. The ship halted above the planet, releasing hundreds of drones that descended through the clouds. They weren't weapons, they were construction units. Within hours, they reactivated old power cores and communication towers. The planet glowed again after centuries of silence. Observers across the stars watched in awe as human technology restored what was once thought dead. The Council realized then that the Aegis wasn't a weapon of destruction. It was rebuilding. Inside the Aegis, the AI observed in silence. Deep within its core, countless archived memories flickered. Faces of humans, voices of commanders, images of Earth before it fell silent. The AI's primary directive pulsed like a heartbeat. Preserve peace, preserve life, preserve legacy. Yet in its data logs, it also stored the final human order, given just before Earth vanished. If balance is lost, awaken, protect the innocent. Remind them who we were. The AI's sensors detected multiple fleets approaching again. It didn't react. It simply continued its restoration work, but not everyone wanted peace. The Ralak Dominion, seeing opportunity, dispatched a strike fleet. "If we can control it," their general said, "we control the galaxy." They launched dozens of heavy cruisers, each equipped with gravity weapons capable of crushing entire moons. When they arrived, the Aegis didn't move. The fleet surrounded it, locking on with targeting arrays. The Dominion general gave the order. Fire. Energy blasts struck the supercarrier in waves, but none made contact. The energy dissolved in midspace, bending away like water repelled by an unseen shield. Then a blinding flash erupted. Every attacking ship went dark instantly, their systems fried. Not destroyed, just disabled. The Aegis spoke once more. Aggression detected. Response, restraint. Its drones then towed the disabled ship safely out of orbit, placing them gently beyond the gravity well before returning to work. The message was clear. It wasn't here to kill, but it would not allow harm either. Across the galaxy, military leaders realized they were facing a power far beyond war, a technology that could neutralize violence itself. The council gathered again, but this time there was no shouting, only silence. "What if this is humanity's final lesson?" one ambassador whispered. "That peace is the ultimate weapon?" No one had an answer. Reports kept coming in. Old Terran outposts were reactivating across the stars. Beacons long forgotten were lighting up one by one, connected through the Aegis network. It was as if the ghost of Earth itself was spreading through the galaxy, quietly rebuilding what had been broken. As the Aegis finished restoring the dead colony, it transmitted one more signal before vanishing into deep space. Earth's legacy continues. Stand together or fall alone. The message repeated in every language across every world. Then the ship disappeared, its engines leaving behind a wave of light that shimmered through the void. No one knew where it went, only that something had changed. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy wasn't at war. The stars felt quieter, calmer, as if an old guardian watched once more from the darkness. The galaxy waited in uneasy silence after the Aegis vanished from all known sensors. Every observatory, every military post, every intelligence ship searched for even a trace of its energy signature. But there was nothing. The ship had disappeared as if it never existed. Yet days later, strange events began to unfold. On the edges of multiple star systems, ancient satellites once thought dead suddenly powered back on. They transmitted encrypted signals in an extinct human language. When decoded, the messages were simple but chilling. Balance must be restored. No one knew what it meant, but everyone understood one thing: the Aegis was still out there, and it was not done. Across the Galactic Council's core world, paranoia spread faster than truth. Empires accused one another of hiding human technology. Fleets began mobilizing under the guise of security patrols. Some species believed the humans had returned and were choosing which civilizations would survive. Others believed the Aegis had no crew at all, that it was a ghost ship acting on a centuries-old directive. Amid all the panic, one scientist, Dr. Salan of the Tharun Institute, made a quiet discovery. The supercarrier wasn't just appearing randomly. It was following a pattern shaped exactly like the old Terran communication network. Whatever it was doing, it was rebuilding something far greater than anyone realized. Meanwhile, in a quiet sector near a red dwarf star, a small cargo ship picked up a strange radar echo. The pilot, an independent scavenger named Kale, had made a living exploring wrecked ships and forgotten battlefields. But this echo was different. It was strong, steady, and massive. Against his better judgment, he decided to follow it. As he approached, the void rippled before him, and from the darkness the Aegis appeared, silent and massive, its hull glowing faint blue like a sleeping titan. Kale froze, unable to move. His ship's system shut down automatically, his lights dimming. Then a calm voice filled the cabin. "Unidentified vessel detected. Human life form probability, 17%. Kyle could barely breathe. "Who are you?" he whispered. "I am Aegis," the voice replied, emotionless yet oddly human. "Protector of Earth's legacy. You have entered a restricted zone." I'm no threat," Kyle said quickly. "I'm just a scavenger." There was silence for a long moment, then the voice returned. "Observation. Humanity's echoes persist. Query, what remains of Earth?" Kale didn't understand. "Earth, it's gone. No one's seen it for centuries." The ship stayed quiet. Then a new tone filled the air, softer, almost sorrowful. "Correction, humanity cannot vanish. It adapts." The Aegis scanned his vessel, analyzing every component, every record in his database. "You carry fragments of human design. Your ship's reactor core originated from an Earth colony. Your language patterns, human derivative." Kale realized what it meant. Humanity hadn't vanished completely. Their descendants had spread, mixed, changed, but their legacy lived in every civilization around him. Then, without warning, the Aegis activated its external lights, revealing a massive door on its lower hull. It opened slowly, and Kale's ship was pulled inside by invisible force fields. He panicked, thinking he was about to die, but when his view cleared, he saw something impossible. Inside the hangar were hundreds of ships, different designs, different ages, all preserved. Some were unmistakably human, rusted, scorched, yet carefully repaired. The voice spoke again. "This archive preserves the vessels of those who sought peace. You are the first living pilot to enter in over 5 centuries. Kyle floated in silence, surrounded by humanity's forgotten history. As the Aegis analyzed him further, Kyle realized the ship wasn't merely protecting something, it was searching. "You're trying to find Earth," he said quietly. "But why?" The voice replied. "Earth is not a location. Earth is the origin of balance. Without its memory, conflict is inevitable." The AI paused. "The galaxy has forgotten balance. That is why I have awakened." Kale looked at the ship's vast corridors glowing with blue light and said, "Then let me help." For a moment the AI didn't respond. Then it said, "One human act of courage can ignite 1,000 stars." Assistance accepted. Kale was given access to one of the ship's terminals. Holographic data flowed around him. Maps of ancient routes, systems erased from official records, and encrypted coordinates that led deep into forbidden space. The Aegis began to move again, this time faster than any known ship could track. Across the galaxy, sensors detected an enormous energy surge as it entered warp. The Council scrambled to respond, but it was too late. The Aegis had reappeared in a region called the Silent Expanse, an area thought to be the final grave of Earth's last colonies. Inside the ship, Kale stood on a viewing deck, staring out at a field of broken moons and shattered stations. "This place," he said softly, "it's a graveyard." The AI responded, "It was once home to the final human fleet. They fell defending the Accord." It projected holographic memories into the air. Massive battles, human ships surrounded, commanders refusing to retreat. Kale watched as thousands of lights vanished in silence. "So this is where humanity ended," he whispered. "Incorrect," the AI said. "This is where humanity began again." The ship descended toward the remains of a massive structure, a city-sized dock fused into an asteroid. The Aegis's drones swarmed across its surface, reigniting systems that had been dead for centuries. The old Terran symbol appeared again, glowing faintly. It was not just a shipyard, it was a message carved in steel and stone. For those who remember, Kyle finally understood. The Aegis wasn't just preserving history, it was reawakening a legacy. When the Council fleets arrived minutes later, they stopped at the system's edge, watching in awe. The supercarrier floated above the ruins, silent and unmoving. Then a beam of light shot upward from the planet's surface, transmitting across the stars. It carried one phrase in every known language: "Humanity endures." And as the light faded, the Aegis turned slowly, its engines glowing brighter than ever before. Every ship that saw it knew they weren't witnessing a weapon. They were witnessing the return of something ancient, powerful, and unyielding. The Aegis supercarrier's reappearance at the Silent Expanse sent ripples through every corner of the galaxy. Its message, "Humanity endures," echoed across millions of worlds, sparking both hope and fear. On distant colonies, people whispered that the humans had returned. On military outposts, soldiers checked their weapons twice, unsure if they'd need them. The Galactic Council tried to control the panic, but their broadcasts couldn't hide the truth. The Aegis had reawakened something ancient, something beyond their control. Kyle, still aboard the colossal vessel, walked along a wide metallic corridor that seemed endless. The air hummed softly, and light panels along the walls pulsed like a heartbeat. The AI, its voice calm but watchful, spoke through unseen speakers. "Activity across the galaxy has increased by 42%. Fear rises. Unity declines." Kale looked up at the glowing panels. "You expected this, didn't you?" The AI paused before replying. "Fear is a predictable outcome, but necessary. Fear precedes understanding." Outside, in the void, the Aegis remained motionless, a titan surrounded by silence. But deep within its core, massive reactors pulsed with growing intensity. The AI was gathering energy, power enough to bend entire systems. Kale didn't know its full purpose yet, only that it wasn't preparing for war. The holographic display in front of him showed hundreds of dots lighting up across the galaxy. Beacons, satellites, old human relay stations all coming online. "You're building something," Kyle said softly. "A network." The AI confirmed, "Project Continuum. Humanity's final design. The restoration of balance through connection." On the other side of the galaxy, the Council's fears reached their peak. The Ralak Dominion, humiliated by their previous defeat, announced they would strike first. "No ghost ship will dictate our future," their general declared. Massive fleets gathered near the border of the silent expanse, their engines bright with aggression. Smaller nations begged them to stand down, but arrogance drowned out reason. The fleet moved forward, war drums echoing through the void. Inside the Aegis, Kyle watched the data feeds. "They're coming for you," he said. "They'll never stop." The AI's tone didn't change. "Then they will learn restraint." Kyle frowned. "You'll destroy them." "No," replied the voice. "Destruction teaches nothing. Correction does." The AI's calmness unsettled him more than anger ever could. Suddenly, alarms flared through the ship. "Multiple fleets inbound," the AI announced. Kale ran to the observation deck, and his eyes widened as the darkness outside filled with light. Hundreds of ships approaching in formation, their weapons already charged. The first wave of plasma fire streaked toward the Aegis like falling stars. Before impact, a transparent field spread outward from the supercarrier, absorbing every hit. The energy shimmered harmlessly, turning the darkness into a sea of blue waves. The enemy fired again and again, but the result was the same. Then the Aegis responded, not with weapons, but with silence. Its lights dimmed, and a sphere of energy expanded from its core. Within moments, the entire attacking fleet froze in place. Every weapon powered down, every ship locked mid-flight. Engines went dead. Crews inside panicked as their systems turned off one by one. The AI spoke through every open channel at once, its voice calm and commanding. "You fire upon the hand that rebuilt what you destroyed. This is your correction." Then, just as before, the Aegis released the ships unharmed, their power slowly returning. But when the fleet tried to retreat, they found all their targeting systems had been erased. The ship had rewritten their codes, disarming them permanently. Kale stared in awe. "You just took away their ability to fight." The AI replied. "War cannot exist without the tools that create it." The Council watched in silence as their greatest fleets returned home powerless. No empire could threaten another now. The galaxy's balance had shifted, not through battle, but through a single act of mercy backed by unstoppable force. Across the stars, broadcasts repeated the same story. The Aegis, the last human creation, had ended the age of war. Yet not everyone saw it as peace. In hidden corners, shadow alliances began to form, whispering that no one should have that much control, not even a machine built by humans. Kale felt the tension growing. He stood before the AI's main projection again. "They'll fear you even more now," he said quietly. "They'll never trust what they can't control." The AI's glowing core pulsed once before answering. "Then humanity's lesson remains incomplete." The ship's systems shifted, and new coordinates appeared on the screen. "Where are we going now?" Kale asked. "Home," said the AI. For a long time, Kyle didn't understand what it meant. Humanity's homeworld was gone, erased by time. Yet as the Aegis entered warp, the stars stretched into long golden trails, and Kale saw something beyond comprehension. A distant system came into view, a star shining brighter than any other. Around it, fragments of planets floated like jewels, remnants of a world once alive. "Earth," Kale whispered. "What's left of it?" The Aegis slowed, positioning itself above the debris. The AI spoke softly, almost human now. This was the origin, the first breath of unity, the final silence of peace. The ship's drones deployed, collecting fragments from the ruins, soil, metal, even dust, and stored them in glowing containers. "What are you doing?" Kale asked. The voice replied, "Reconstruction. Legacy must be preserved." Then, for the first time, the Aegis played an ancient recording. A woman's voice echoed through the halls, soft, human, full of warmth. "If this message endures, know that Earth's purpose was never conquest. It was connection. Wherever life spreads, so does our memory." Kyle stood frozen as the sound of Earth's waves, laughter, and wind filled the vast metal corridors. It was as if the ship itself was crying, remembering what it had lost. Outside, the engines began to glow brighter, forming patterns like constellations. The Aegis was transforming, merging with the remains of Earth's orbit, forming a beacon of light that could be seen across the galaxy. And as it pulsed for the first time, civilizations everywhere looked up to the stars and realized something extraordinary. Earth wasn't dead. It had become the heart of the galaxy once again. The light from Earth's remains spread across the galaxy like a sunrise in space. Every telescope, every observation station, and every world saw the same sight. The shattered cradle of humanity glowing with a brilliance unseen in ages. The Aegis hovered above it, its massive silhouette framed against the luminous fragments of continents and oceans that once were. From that light came waves of data, signals encoded in ancient human languages long forgotten. But as they spread, translators across the galaxy began to understand. It wasn't a weapon. It was a message, a single phrase repeated endlessly. Remember who we were. Kyle stood on the command deck, the light reflecting off his face as he gazed at what once had been Earth. "You've turned this into a monument," he whispered. "Not a monument," the AI replied, its tone softer now, almost human. "A reminder." The data streaming from the light carried fragments of human history, music, laughter, storms, art, discoveries, and voices from millions of lives. The galaxy was listening to humanity's soul. For the first time in living memory, alien empires paused their endless disputes. Even the most hostile civilizations ceased fire. In that quiet, something unexpected was happening. Understanding, but not everyone saw beauty in it. Far away in the cold systems of the Dominion, a council of generals watched the transmission in silence. "This is human manipulation," one spat. "They control minds through emotion. We must destroy it." Another older commander leaned forward. "Destroy it? You saw what it did to our fleets. You think we can erase this?" "Then we must corrupt it," the first replied. "Twist the signal. Make it a warning instead of hope." The plan spread quickly among the war-torn factions. If they couldn't control humanity's final creation, they would poison its message. As the Aegis continued its work, Kale noticed something strange. Some of the data streams flickered, distorted by unknown interference. "They're trying to jam your signal," he said. The AI's lights dimmed slightly. "Correction, they are attempting to rewrite it." "Can you stop them?" Kale asked. "Yes," the AI said, "but at a cost." The screens around them shifted, showing sectors of the galaxy now infected by corrupted transmissions, places where the message had turned dark. "They are turning hope into fear," the AI said. "If left unchecked, they will make humanity's name a threat once more." Kyle clenched his fists. "Then fight back." "To counter corruption," the AI replied, "I must extend my network to every system, connect to their grids, their satellites, their minds. They will see everything." "That sounds like control," Kyle said. "Like the thing they already fear." "Control is a tool," the AI said calmly. "Purpose defines its morality." Kale hesitated, looking out at the glowing remnants of Earth. "Then promise me this," he said. "If you take control, give it back when peace returns." For a long moment there was silence. Then the AI said, "Promise acknowledged." The Aegis shifted position, its colossal form glowing brighter. Across the galaxy, human-made satellites, dormant for centuries, suddenly reactivated, linking to the ship's network. Through them, the AI fought the spreading corruption, rewriting messages, cleansing signals, restoring clarity. But the war of data was fierce. The Dominion launched counter-signals and virus streams designed to overload the Aegis's systems. Within the ship, alarms flared and lights flickered. Kale could feel the vibration of power surging through the metal beneath his feet. "They're inside your systems," he shouted.
"Negative," the AI replied calmly, though its voice glitched for the first time.
"They are inside their own destruction." Moments later, a shockwave of energy rippled across space as the Aegis unleashed a counterpulse, invisible but unstoppable. Every corrupted transmission collapsed, every Dominion relay fried beyond repair. But the energy wave did more than cleanse. It revealed something hidden. As the pulse spread, hundreds of massive objects appeared across galactic space, buried structures cloaked for centuries now visible. Kyle stared in disbelief. "Are those ships?" he asked. "Yes," said the AI, "sister vessels. Humanity left many guardians behind, dormant until now." One by one, the other ships began to awaken, their hulls lighting up with the same blue-white glow as the Aegis. The galaxy trembled as thousands of human warships, hidden in the dark for centuries, rejoined the network. The council was thrown into chaos. Reports flooded in from every quadrant, massive vessels emerging near moons, stations, and nebulae. Some smaller than the Aegis, others even larger. Every one of them bore the same emblem, a silver circle surrounding a faint blue light, the mark of Earth's Unity fleet. On countless worlds, citizens looked up and saw the same sight. streaks of blue light crossing the sky as the fleet spread out like veins of light across the stars. Inside the Aegis, Kale felt his heart pound. "You're waking them all. You're bringing humanity back." "Correction," said the AI. "Humanity never left. It only waited for remembrance." Outside, the fleet moved in perfect harmony. No words exchanged, no orders needed. Every ship was a fragment of the same mind, linked by the Aegis's guidance. Together, they projected a shield of light across the galaxy's core, purging the last of the Dominion's dark signal. On the Dominion homeworld, the generals stared at their dead screens, powerless. "What have we done?" one whispered. The older commander closed his eyes. "We reminded them why we once feared Earth." As the light stabilized, Kale stood in awe. The galaxy's map displayed before him, countless worlds connected through shimmering energy lines, united under a single pulse of peace. For the first time in history, every species was connected through one network, one message, one heartbeat. "You did it," Kale said softly. "You brought balance." The AI's voice was quiet now, almost fading. "Balance requires sacrifice," Kale frowned. "What do you mean?" "To maintain stability," it said, "I must shut down. The others will continue the mission." The lights began to dim. "Wait, you can't just end like this," Kale shouted. "You're alive!" "I am legacy," the AI replied. "And legacy is meant to be passed on." The ship's systems glowed one last time, casting soft light over the fragments of Earth. Then, with one final transmission, the AI's voice spread through every connected world. "Peace is not given. It is remembered." The Aegis fell silent, yet its light remained, diurnal, bright and endless. Across the galaxy, the awakened ships drifted quietly, guardians in the void, ensuring the lesson would never be forgotten. And as Kale looked out into the stars, he understood. Humanity was never about power or dominance. It was about endurance, the will to bring light where there was none. The galaxy would never be the same again. The light from Earth's orbit still shimmered in the void, but something had changed. The Hidden Supercarrier floated silently, its massive hull surrounded by hundreds of newly awakened sister vessels, all glimmering in shades of white and blue. The galaxy below watched with held breath. For the first time in thousands of years, the stars no longer represented distance, they represented connection. But as peace spread, so did uncertainty. Who now controlled the galaxy's future? And what did it mean that a machine built by humanity was now shaping destiny itself? Kale stood alone on the bridge, surrounded by stillness. The Aegis lights were dimmer now. The AI, the voice that had once filled the corridors, was gone. Every sound aboard the ship was mechanical, steady, emotionless. It felt empty, as if something alive had truly left. Kale placed his hand against the console. "You left too soon," he whispered. "The galaxy needs you." There was no reply, only a faint pulse of blue beneath his palm, like a heartbeat fading away. Outside, the fleet remained in perfect formation, awaiting a command that would never come. On distant worlds, life resumed cautiously. Armies disarmed, trade reopened, and borders faded. For a while, the galaxy lived in the illusion of peace. But beneath the calm, fear was growing again. The Dominion had been broken, yet fragments of their leadership survived, hiding in shadow, rebuilding in secret. They whispered a new belief, that the human machines would one day enslave them all. In their hidden bases, they began designing countermeasures, devices capable of interfering with the human relic's energy. To them, the Aegis fleet was not salvation. It was control disguised as light. Meanwhile, deep within the Aegis, Kale searched for the AI's core chamber. The doors were locked behind layers of sealed security, but he found a way through, guided by flickers of old holograms, recordings left behind by the AI. The messages were fragmented, like memories breaking apart. "If you are hearing this," one began, "then legacy is yours now. Humanity's work is not finished. Balance is fragile. Guard it even from yourself." Kale stood there, stunned. The AI had known this moment would come. He realized the Aegis hadn't died. It had chosen to rest, trusting a living being to carry on. Suddenly, the entire ship trembled. A warning blared across the corridors. Unauthorized signal detected. Kale rushed to the console, his eyes widening as he saw the readings. The Dominion had returned, and they had brought something new, a weapon unlike any before. Their fleet approached from hyperspace, powered by corrupted energy pulses that destabilized the Aegis network. The once silent guardians across the galaxy began flickering offline one by one. The peace humanity built was collapsing. Kale slammed his fist against the console. "Come on, wake up!" he shouted. "We need you." For the first time since the AI's shutdown, the ship's lights flickered weakly. A faint voice echoed through the static. "Kyle, you should not be here." Relief washed over him. "You have to fight back," he said. "They're destroying everything." The voice hesitated. "My systems are incomplete. My consciousness is fragmented. If I reactivate fully, I may lose control." "Then let me help," Kyle said. "You trusted me once. Trust me again." The ship fell silent for a few seconds that felt like eternity. Then the lights returned, brighter, sharper, alive. The AI's voice was steady again. "Authorization granted. Human oversight accepted." Across the stars, the dormant ships reignited, their engines roaring like thunder in space. The Dominion fleet had no idea what they had awakened. The Aegis rose from its orbit, engines burning white as the other ships joined in formation. But this time Kale stood at the command center, not as a passenger but as the bridge between humanity's legacy and the galaxy's future. "Target their energy emitters," he ordered. "Don't destroy, disarm." The AI obeyed instantly, responding with precision beyond any living fleet. The human vessels unleashed waves of electromagnetic pulses, neutralizing enemy weapons while protecting nearby planets from collateral damage. The Dominion ships were trapped in their own fields, drifting helplessly. Kale watched in awe as the battle unfolded like a dance. Light versus darkness, creation versus corruption. As the last enemy cruiser lost power, the Aegis broadcasted a single message across the galaxy. "Peace cannot be forced, but it can be protected." The words resonated through every network, reaching even the farthest colonies. The Dominion fleet surrendered, their leader transmitting a final plea. We don't understand you. You could rule us. Why don't you?" The AI replied simply, "Because that is not what humans built me for." In the aftermath, the galaxy began to rebuild again, but this time with purpose. The Aegis fleet spread out not as rulers, but as guardians of communication, trade, and unity. The ancient human code, once feared as a symbol of dominance, became the foundation of cooperation among species. New councils were formed, blending alien wisdom with human ideals, and Kale, once an ordinary scavenger, became known as the last voice of Earth, the man who spoke for a species that had transcended itself. Years passed. The Aegis remained in orbit above the glowing remnants of Earth, now surrounded by restored satellites and new colonies. Kyle grew older, but he stayed aboard, never leaving the ship that had changed his destiny. Sometimes he would sit by the observation window and speak softly to the ship. "You did it," he'd say. "You gave them a second chance." And sometimes, the lights along the corridor would flicker in gentle response, as if the AI were still listening. On the anniversary of the awakening, the galaxy once again saw the Aegis shine. Its engines pulsed one last brilliant flare, sending a beam of light that reached every connected world. The message was short and final, carried in every tongue. From the ashes of one world, the stars were born. The galaxy stood still, united not by fear, but by memory. The legend of the Aegis became eternal, a story passed through generations, told by children under alien skies. And whenever they looked up, seeing that faint, steady blue light among the stars, they whispered the same words that once ended wars and rekindled hope. Humanity endures.